Ratongchu Baby. Ratongchu Baby is one of my 6 names, the one with the story. In 1995 and 1996, the government of Sikkim and India sent out a scheme planning to dam the sacred river Ratongchu. His Holiness Drajupchen Rinpoche, Sonam Sir, Lok Babu Sir, my father, Mr. C.L. Denjongpa, and many other concerned citizens of Sikkim acted to preserve the Ratongchu. Amidst all this chaos and mayhem, my mother was always seen running around with an enormous ill-fitting black overcoat, trying to hide a baby bump, which is, for your information, me 18 years before. When the plan was shut down and the cat was out of the bag about the surprise baby that Chumden, my mother, was carrying, Sonamsa thought of the name Ratongchu Baby, and the name stuck. Sometimes I feel like my prenatal, pro-Sikkim, pro-religious exposure is what brews such strong emotions in me when I'm told snippets of Sikkimese history, folk tales, and stories of the past. However, there are times when I'm torn between religious and mythical beliefs and what textbooks in school teach. For instance, am I supposed to believe that when people die, their body goes but their soul stays behind for 49 days in the house? Or am I supposed to believe that after a living being dies, their bodies disintegrate along with their soul? Am I supposed to believe that when my great-grandfather was in meditation, a female yeti brought food for him in return for him saving her from the pain of a stuck splinter? Or do I believe that yetis don't exist? Or they only do in Mount Everest whenever Tintin tries climbing it? All these conflicts within my own mind and within my own soul challenge me. Sometimes I feel that because I'm my parents' daughter and I'm in my family, I have to nurture the religious and Sikkimese side of me. I have to remind myself to be modest and not dress up while going to the kirtan. I have to remind myself to treat every elder with more respect. I have to remind me to carry myself as Pema Namgyal's daughter instead of Tenchung. Then again, there are times when I act like the rebellious teenager. My parents and especially my sister would know this. Sometimes I ask for material things like clothes and shoes, and more recently makeup. There are times when I'd rather watch a documentary on the Buddha than implement his teachings. But then there are times when I'm a different Tenchung while doing the Chepo, saving insects' lives, pouring hot water over my grandfather's millet beer, and when I feel compassionate. My parents have helped me feel at peace with the Sikkimese daughter Tenchung. They are my source of inspiration for being the compassionate human being. Between trying to fit apples in my mouth in the morning and driving hurriedly to school after me missing the bus, they tell me to read prayer books and give their own life mistakes to prevent me from making them. My sisters and my friends help keep the teenage Tenchung alive with screenshots of shoes and clothes that we love, trying to go on fruit diets, and watching chick flicks. The school has nurtured the mixed yet complete Tenchung. Between going to America and trips to Yoksam and Tashiding, the school has taught me to embrace the roots of tradition growing through the soles of my feet, yet given me the ability to fly to another world. I do not know what I want to be in life yet. I'm about to find out. Maybe I want something that lets all 3 Tenchungs grow. I know there are many Tenzing Chodans and even Tenchungs, but I've never come across another Ratongchu Baby. Maybe what my parents, sister, friends and the school has given me, maybe with what my parents, sister, friends and school has given me, I'll be able to do something as great as my father and his friends did and truly be the Ratongchu Baby. Thank you.
My story consists of 2 continents, 5 languages, beef versus fish, and 2 grandmothers who've never met. My father is half Maharashtrian and half English, while my mother is pure Sikkimese. Being a Hindu with a few Christian beliefs and raised in Buddhist Sikkim, home was always a festive wonderland all year round. I stuffed myself with cold cut pork during the Buddhist New Year, laddus and kaju burfis during Diwali, and mashed potatoes with onion gravy on Christmas nights, adapting to the three contrasting cultures. But blending in the three hasn't always been easy. Sometimes I hate the fact that I come from such a diverse family because the constant switch from a shy, polite Himalayan girl to a confident and outgoing Mumbai girl is like being asked to peel an orange and put the covers back on. Despite the who am I struggle that gnaws at my mixed brain, being three people in one has its own power. I like to think of myself as a bridge. The Maharashtrian, the Sikkimese, and the English live, laugh, and coexist because of me. For example, when my momo making, Sikkimese speaking Himalayan grandmother sends a Sikkimese gift to my English speaking, Yorkshire pudding making British grandmother, I'm there to explain that the spinning thing with the ball in the end is actually a money that contains mantras that you spin while you pray. I'm bringing together the humility that my Sikkimese grandmother possesses, the confidence that fizzes out of my English grandmother, and the silent contentment that rests peacefully in both my grandfather's souls. I have spent 17 years being the bridge builder in my family, and the last 8 years at Taxi has really helped me be the bridge I am today. When I first came to Taxi, I was my jeans, my short hair, and my loud laughter. My identity. But today I have so much more. I've changed from that wild, crazy animal to actually being capable of controlling the 200-something other animals who've shared the good fortune to go to the same school with me. Now a leader, I'm able to share pieces of myself with other worlds, bringing back other worlds into mine. I am now a connector of a wider community of people. I am now that girl with twisted humor and my favorite title, pun and double entendre queen. I am my words, my thoughts, and usually my very energetic actions. But to get to where I am, I've selfishly stolen so many qualities from the people I've met the past few years, and today I would like to give much of the credit to everyone at Taxi for giving me endless opportunities to make mistakes. It was the greatest freedom I was given here. I want to thank this special woman wearing a purple buckru for keeping me grounded and for showing me how powerful and important kindness and humility is. I want to thank my father, that man in red hair who's recording me right now, for giving me his humor, his wit, and his ability to interact and connect with strangers. I've added many sleepless nights, visits to the gompas, and wrinkles and white hair to your lives and heads. But despite this, you both have always showered me with support, love, and I just hope that maybe one day I'll be half as good as the both of you. Shogun and Tenchung for being my two wings. Flying without the two of you would have been impossible. To all of you, my gratitude for for polishing my better qualities and helping me to conquer some of those that were less so. I thank everyone sitting here before me for coming and being part of a very important day in our lives. I hope to be a better connector on this next journey that I am about to take.
When I was 4 months old, my parents sent me to live with my grandfather in Nepal, and I've lived with him ever since. Noisy and observant, I was my Baji's shadow. When neighbors asked about my parents, it was Baji who came to my mind. From my bedroom window, I watched him climbing trees to cut leaves for his goats, massaging the soil with his fingers and watering his orchids. He wore torn pullovers, patched track pants, and rain boots. Ashamed of his lack of education, he never attended any of my school functions. School fees were sent in white envelopes on which I would write his name with my crooked handwriting. But while I have more formal education than Baji, living away at Taxi International School for 7 years has shown me that his qualities are what I want to possess myself. My grandfather embodies unannounced empathy. He does things for people in his quiet way without expecting anything in return. There is an old lady in my village, for example, who walks up the steep mountain every day with a basket full of vegetables to sell. She's a scrawny widow and supports her 3 kids by what she sells. We have our own little farm where Baji grows mustard greens, tomatoes, and corn, but every morning he still buys from her and sometimes even brings her a cup of tea. Why are you buying when we have our own, I'd ask. It's not much, but it will give her the courage to walk up the mountain tomorrow, Baji replied. As an 8-year-old, I didn't understand, but now I can see that my grandfather was quietly buying her vegetables in a way that allowed her to keep her dignity. Although this may not sound flashy, this is the kind of generosity that reflects my Baji's world. In addition to being sensitive to others with less, my Baji taught me determination and support. There were nights when I'd get stuck with homework. My friends had their parents helping them, but Baji couldn't read or write in English. He couldn't explain anything. For much of my childhood, I resented this.
You want to show? Yeah. Okay.
I'd cry, feel so enraged, and refuse to speak. Baji would respond by fumbling through the drawer, taking up 4 candles, and placing them on the corners of the table. Then he sat across from me and waited. I could have never developed independence and determination without him sitting silently with me all those nights. At Taxi, I studied the causes of the world wars, played basketball, wrote spoken word poetry, and attended dinners with intellectual people. Yet, every time I go back to my village, I see Baji feeding his goats. Later, we sit together for dinner and eat rice with our hands. There is this silent acceptance of his world in my Baji that infuriated me when I was small. I didn't understand why he couldn't try to learn and thought that he didn't have the courage to step out of his comfort zone. Now I see that there is dignity in accepting who you are. I live in 2 worlds. At school, I learned to use new technologies, read Marcus Zusak, ask questions, and write poetry. But there is also Baji's world, which is grounded. His world of 4 candles, silent waiting, torn pullovers, and scrawny widows. His world with a value of his own. He is the embodiment of my European culture, and he chooses to live in it. His quiet groundedness makes it possible for me to live in these 2 worlds and to see the value of each. This is what he has done for me, and this is how I will be, with 1 foot on the rich soil and the other in the library, my mind brewing with starting lines of poems, and my heart etched with my Baji's calm roots. And for making me this person, to be able to stand here and read this, I'd like to thank Taxi. I'm really grateful to all my teachers who were kind and patient, to all our board members who stood up and encouraged this education, and at the same time took us to plant rice at the fields of Sajong. For this education, where we have interacted with people from Google India and at the same time plowed the rice paddies with oxes. I'd like to remember and appreciate Mr. Michael Baldwin, who first helped Taxi to stand. or 4 guests from the US who flew halfway around the world for our graduation. My 2 classmates who have taught me that while it's great to read books, it is also important to be adventurous, and for being the 2 pillars that blocked any walls I tried to build around myself. I adore them. My relatives who have guided me these 7 years, my sister who is crying right now, and the resident students and the teachers for being family away from home. And lastly, and especially my mother for making this choice for me 8 years ago, and my father who works day and night just so his daughter can be where she is. I am Shogun Limpo, a voracious reader, a poet, a point guard, a dancer, a leader, an abstruse, and soon to be a pioneering taxi graduate.
So we talked all night about the rest of our lives, where we gonna be when we turn 25. I keep thinking times will never change, keep on thinking things will always be the same, but when we leave this year, we won't be coming back. No more hanging out cause we're on a different track, and if you got something that you need to say, you better say it right now, cause you won't have another day. We're moving on and we can't slow down. These memories are playing like a film without sound, and I keep thinking of the night in June. I didn't know much of love, but it came too soon, and there was me and you, and then we got real blue. We stay at home talking on the telephone, and we would get so excited and we'd get so laughing at ourselves, thinking life's not fair. As we go on, we remember all the times we had together, and as our lives change, come whatever, we will still be friends forever. So if we get the jobs and we make the big money, when we look back now, will our jokes still be funny? We will still remember everything we learned in school, still be trying to break every single rule. Will little Brainy Bobby be the strawberry man? Can Heather find a joke that won't interfere with your tan? I keep thinking that it's not goodbye, keep on thinking it's our time to fly.